Okay. Yep. It's starting to happen. It's really starting to happen. I can recall my Falcons being in a similar situation last year, this time, with a certain quarterback who now plays for the Cleveland Browns that will remain unnamed. A little bit different, though. No pending charges with this one. But there has been some NFL websites that has posted a jersey, which we later found out was fake, of Lamar Jackson. Yes, Lamar Jackson going to my Dirty Birds, possibly. I'm going to talk to you about why this could happen. I'm going to talk to you about the fit and whether or not I'll do it. And I'm also talk to you about how the chances of this happening increase exponentially today, while they're the favorite on bookies.com to land the Baltimore Ravens quarterback after the intro. What's going on, you squares? This is your boy Man Down Zone 150 the Man Down podcast, but this is Bird Dog Brave talking. I know it's been a long time. Who cares? I'm here now, and I'm going to be here probably for the next couple of days because there's a lot going on in Georgia sports, especially with my team. So as you can see from the title and the thumbnail, that we're talking about the one, the only, the electrifying former MVP Lamar Jackson, potentially going to my Dirty Birds. All right, so boom, this rumor started to pick up steam around the time when Lamar Jackson's contract, when we knew beyond a shadow of a doubt after, the Ravens were eliminated from the playoffs that they weren't going to get a deal done. It kind of died down once that press conference happened with Harbaugh and the GM saying that Lamar Jackson will 200% be a part of their team next year. But they once again started to pick back up when franchise tags started to happen. A lot of the times when franchise tag is even being mentioned, it's the beginning of the end for whatever player that is, because no player wants to play on a 1-year deal with the potential of injuring himself, knowing he'll be in a contract year the following year and unable to get that deal done with the current team. So, so rumors are starting to swirl about a bunch of different teams. The Falcons being one of them, considering the fact that they will have now, after today, over $65 million in cap space. They do have assets to trade. They own all of their own picks. In addition to that, they're not solid at quarterback. They do have Desmond Ridder, which I'll get to a little bit later. But they're an intriguing destination, especially considering the fact that the last 2 years they drafted pass catchers, tight end Kyle Pitts and wide receiver Drake London. There is some talent still on this team. However, nobody is saying that they're going to be a contender, even with or without Lamar Jackson. But what I will say is having your quarterback position solidified, at least for the next 4 or 5 years, depending on whatever contract situation is worked out, does put it at ease, and you can focus all your attention and all your money that you have left over on building those pieces to be able to contend within the next 2 to 3 years after getting someone like Lamar Jackson. Now, let's talk about it. The NFL Combine is this week. One Terry Fontenot, the Atlanta Falcons general manager, was in Indianapolis, of course, being interviewed, and the question arose about the quarterback position. And I quote, he said, "We are really, really excited about Desmond Ridder, but we are going to continue to add to the position." That was all but an indication that there will be a competition. Desmond Ridder started the last 4 games, I believe, of the season for the Falcons. He should have been started well before that, considering the play of now released Marcus Mariota, which helped save us about $12 million too, going towards the cap. But yeah, he started about 4 games. Didn't necessarily played better than Mariota, in my opinion. Didn't do anything extravagant to say, hey, he's locked up this spot. But we did go 2-2, if I'm not mistaken. won more games than anybody predicted. And, he's a young kid. He's won in college. He needs a fair shake, I would say. But if you have an opportunity to draft a former MVP, or I'm sorry, not draft, but trade for a former MVP, one as exciting as Lamar Jackson, one who has, I would say, carried that Greg Roman offense with absolutely no number one wide receiver. Now, he has had Mark Andrews, who has been his favorite target over that time, but there has been pass catchers who have not been slated as that number one pass catcher. So he's done a lot with a little, in my humble opinion. So if the Falcons do have a chance to get him, I think the fit will be seamless, considering the fact that Arthur Smith is used to playing with those mobile quarterbacks. He likes to run the ball, and Lamar adds another running element. Tyler Algier had an awesome rookie season. I'm pretty sure he'll build on that, but they also said they plan on building on the running back position too. So I don't know if that means in the number 8 spot or further on down in the draft. Now, considering the fact that we do have the number 8th pick in this upcoming draft, any deal with the Ravens for Lamar Jackson, I would imagine, would include that number 8 pick, because there are some quarterbacks in this draft that are really, really highly touted, as Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, people like Will Levis, people like Anthony Anderson. I'm not so sold on those guys yet, but there are some guys that you can build upon potentially in this draft. Now, do I think it is a fit? It's pretty hard to put Lamar Jackson on any offense and it not work, considering the strides that he's made as a passer. We already know what he can do as a runner. But as a passer, he's improved every single year. You can check the stats. I don't have them right here in front of me, but I've checked them. He's improved as a passer every single year, even this year when he sat out for the second half of the season pretty much with injury. His numbers before that, people like to paint this narrative, and I'm here to kill all narratives. Lamar Jackson is a good passer. He's also a good runner. He's also a former MVP. He is a guy that can get your franchise to the promised land, considering as long as he has the proper help around him, I think it's possible. Now, the trade would probably, like I said, involve the number 8 pick if it was with the Falcons, and probably at least 2 more first-round draft picks. But I will say this. It's interesting because no matter what it is that we offer, the Falcons don't hold the leverage. I mean, simple as that. We're going to have to give the Ravens what they ask for. But ironically, the Ravens don't hold the leverage either. The person that holds the absolute most leverage in this situation is Lamar Jackson. And let me tell you why. If they franchise tag him, cool. Any sign of any injury possibility, he could sit out, say, I don't feel comfortable playing, kill the rest of the year. And he could tell the Ravens, hey, if you franchise tag me this year, I'm going to walk for absolutely nothing next year. And so now you draft this quarterback in the first round. He's an MVP candidate, and you absolutely lose him for nothing. I don't think they want to risk that chance. So I'm thinking they're in constant communication. If Lamar ever gives the indication that he is going to walk, then they're going to be fielding all type of offers. And I think the Falcons have the right combination of cap space to sign him to a new long-term deal, draft picks, and I think they are a team that if he comes in, they instantaneously become better. Do they become a contender? That remains to be seen. We have a new defensive coordinator, second year Arthur Smith, third year Arthur Smith, comes in and we'll see what that looks like. Contender, not sure about that. I think some pieces are definitely missing on the offensive and defensive lines. We have to shore up one of those cornerback spots. AJ Griffin, talking about the Hawks. AJ Terrell has been a fantastic young get. Casey Hayward is solid, but he's been in the league for a little while. He's getting up there in age. Isaiah Oliver in that nickel spot has been good once he came back from injury. Of course, we know about Grady. Grady is a beast down there. I don't see his play falling off, but we got to get somebody next to him to take some of that pressure off. I think we got to get another corner. I've seen some Christian Gonzalez talk at the 8th pick, which I would love, honestly. But there are pieces there. It's not completely barren. And of course, I already mentioned that Jake Matthews is the guy. Caleb McGarry had a very good season coming off of not being picked up for his option. Chris Lindstrom is going to be there for a while. It'd be idiotic for them not to keep him. And of course, we got Drake London, who was picked up last year, and Kyle Pitts the year before. Some pieces are there in place for Lamar to come in and be successful. It's just a matter of what the Falcons are willing to give up. Now, asking price will be steep. Like I said, 3 first-round picks, maybe even a young quarterback prospect. They might even want Desmond Ridder to come back in any deal dealing with Lamar Jackson. If that's the case, then I still pull the trigger. I am excited for what this potentially could do. I don't think this would rob us of depth, because going forward, if Lamar believes in the team and the coaching staff and the GM, contracts can always be restructured, but I think on the front end, you give him a solid deal. And if we go to him and we say, hey, look, this is what we need, I'm pretty sure Lamar's a team guy. He's not going to say, no, I'm not going to restructure my contract, because that looks bad on him, and that's going to come out publicly, and then it's going to be like, you see it's happen all the time. All quarterbacks do this for the betterment of the team, because they'll backload that contract or find a way to give it to you in a bonus anyway. So you're really not losing out on money per se. They just have to make the numbers work. So if I were the Falcons, I would absolutely positively pull the trigger if this ever becomes available. The reason being is because, what do you have to lose? At the end of the day, if it doesn't become available, then you don't like what the Ravens are, asking price, we can just stick with Desmond Ridder, but I pull the trigger. I go with Lamar Jackson. I start this year and have a 3-year plan for this rebuild, even depending on what we give up. Let me know in the comment section if you guys would actually pull the trigger, whether this is too much to give up, whether we are crippling our franchise as far as development goes, or whether or not this would be a good thing. I'll be back real soon. It's your boy, Man Down Zo.